Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Over Coffee, where we talk coffee over a cup of coffee. I normally don't mention which coffee I'm drinking when we have these little episodes, but this one is a Chiapas. It's from Mexico. This is really a nice coffee. Even if you're not drinking our coffee, I would highly recommend that you take a look at this origin. We used to carry a Pluma as well, but I'm really liking this Chiapas. Now, enough about that. So, what I want to talk to you today about is organic. We hear organic a lot, organics a lot of packaging. The trend now is that people want to eat healthier, they're going organic. If it's organic, by the way, it's not genetically modified. So if it's genetically modified, it can't be organic. That's something I never really thought of. But anyway, we're inspected annually. Sometimes they let you know, sometimes they just show up. We just had an inspection just a few days ago. So it's on top of mind for me. And so I wanted to share with you, what does it mean to actually serve a product that is actually organic? Is it just the fact that the bags that we get from our importers that come in from all around the world have an organic stamp on it? That's not it. It's a lot more than just whether or not the bag has a sticker on it. The whole idea is to verify that the product is indeed organic. So what's happening in a third world country? I have no idea. I can't make any claims what they're doing at 7,000 feet in Colombia or wherever it is. I have no idea. But what we can tell you is the coffee that we have and the coffee that we sell as it comes to us is organic. And I'll walk you through the process of, at least when it gets to the shores of the United States, we have very good traceability. I'll show you how this works. So the first thing is this. So we get our inspection report. So this is the one they just gave us. So there'll be a inspection report for 2023. And they like to go over that just to make sure if there's something that was on your inspection report that didn't like or that you needed to take care of, that it was indeed taken care of if they hadn't already followed up with you before. So we have that. Then they want to look to make sure that the people that you're getting your product from, that they're organic. So we have to go over the organic certification from our provider, from our importer, our traders that we get our coffee from. We need to make sure that they're organic. In this case, CCOF, they do our inspection, and they also do one of our importers' inspections. The next thing we look at is actually our invoices. So believe it or not, every invoice that we get comes with the certificates for each individual coffee. So if we get a pallet of coffee in, and there's 10 bags on the pallet, and 3 of them are from Peru, and 3 of them are from Colombia, and a couple of them from a different origin, and we got one from Mexico or one from Sumatra, whatever origin it's from, with that, there is actually a certificate that follows that coffee. And so what happens is, we then, in this case, we get a statement from our vendor. It will tell us which coffees, how many pounds, what we ordered. Then it'll have the organic certificates following that. And it's all based on country code, lot number, batch number. And so, like, for example, if you're getting coffee from Colombia, the country code's 3. I think Mexico is 15, Peru is 14, something along those lines. So each country has its code that it's imported in, so they're checking those codes. So what happens, well, if I grab one here, what happens is we have a file cabinet full. So here's our roast log from, this is a 2023. But anyway, so we'll have a roast log. We'll have all the information about the roast, how many pounds, all of our internal things, our profile, our notes, when we start the coffee, when we finish the coffee, how long the coffee goes for. Those are just things that we have. And we do that on every roast. But then information about those beans. So as we're roasting, before we roast that coffee and we're weighing out the coffee, we then have to look at the bag and then have to write down which bag of Colombia that's from. And that bag gets traced back to here, right? And then as we roast the batch and we finish the batch, then I have to sign in a batch number. In our case, we do the year, so we say 24, and today's the last day of the year, so we do 365, and then it might be the 6th batch of the day, 6. So I do 24, 365, 06, separated by hyphens. So then I'd put that on a spreadsheet, which we do. We track all that. and then they would come in, and then they would cross-reference that, um, the the invoice that I got from the trader, making sure the dates line up, and then I'd have to then show them that I roasted this, say this Columbia, on this day on this profile, and after we roasted it, we put it in this tub, and what they do is they're trying to close the loop. Then I have to account for that inventory on a monthly basis. So if I say I'm selling, 10 pounds of organic coffee and I really sold 20, they're saying, now, wait a minute, somebody's cheating. So we have to carry forward that inventory. We have to account for that inventory. It can be a little bit of a detailed process because whether or not, I'm not sure, is when we roast coffee, nearly 20% of the coffee just evaporates. So if I roast a pound of coffee, I only get 12 ounces. So now we have gross amounts of coffee coming in, but we have net amounts of coffee going out. Each origin has a different loss. So there's a lot there that we have to account for. And so all those ends need to be dotted. All the I's need to cross, all those I's need to be dotted, all those T's need to be crossed. It's just something that's part of the process that we do. It can be a little tedious, but for us, it's a way that we know that it's organic because the people we buy the coffee from have to do the same thing. And for you as the customer, you're paying for organic coffee. And so you want it to be good. I mean, you work hard for your money, so you want to make sure that it's organic. And of course, if it's organic, as I mentioned, it's non-GMO. Now, that's just the paperwork side, and that takes a while. Then what they'll do is they can pull a specimen, and then they'll make a request. So they'll say, okay, Ryan, I want you to show me a Columbia on March 7th. And then what I have to do is I have to go back to the file cabinet. I have to go to March. I have to go to the 7th day. Then I have to show them that Columbia lines up with that Columbia. And they can do that as often as they want. So you could be pulling out reports all year long, showing them your lot code and how that goes to their code. And then they can also pull a specimen, which they did. And so then they walk over to our bags of coffee. They put their gloves on and everything not to contaminate. And then they'll pull a couple pounds and they'll put it in the bag and they send it off to a lab. So even though they've certified us, they know that we're knowingly buying organic coffee. And the people that we are importers, they're knowingly buying organic coffee because they've done the same process for us. And by the way, they check your shipper too. They make sure your shipment is following protocols. And as I receive the coffee in, I actually have to make sure that what I order is what comes in. I have another sheet of paper that I fill out with the bill of lading that I get from the shipping company. So all this stuff has to be sandwiched together and put in one place so it can be traced. It's all about traceability. So back to the specimen. So they pull the specimen, they send it off to the lab, and then the lab will determine whether or not there's anything in the coffee bean that not organic, that shouldn't be there, or not organic compliant. And so they'll pull that off. We send our coffees out to be tested for various things, for microtoxins and for pH and all sorts of stuff. They're testing for any type of chemical, I guess you could say. We test for the same thing as well, or we test for nearly 500 things when we do a test. So that's just the paperwork side. Now, as far as the facility goes, they walk the facility. They want to look at your processing. They want to look at your labeling. All of our labels have to be approved by CCOF and make sure that they're compliant with the rules, with what the federal government says. The federal government apparently owns organic, so it's copyrighted, so you have to have their permission to use it. And so there's all these things that we have to do. Now, in terms of the facility, they want to know how you wash things. Is there a quaternary cleaner on there? Is there a disinfectant agent? What comes in contact with what? All of these things. So the whole idea is, if it's an organic bean and we go to all the time and effort to get it here, and then we're going to do a bunch of stupid stuff that contaminates it, why would we do that? So one of the first things we did years ago, actually, is when we decided to go organic, is that we got rid of all non-organic coffee. We call it conventional coffee in the coffee world. So we don't buy any conventional coffee. It's organic only. It's going to continue to be organic. And now they just come in and makes it easier because they know we're not doing anything that we can't even get a bean that's not organic. We don't even order one. So there's a lot of things that go on and happen that go into this process. It's all the paperwork. It's the inspection of your facility. They can come in whenever they want. They're pulling samples to test for chemicals. This is a very detailed and in-depth process. They look to the shippers to carry your stuff. They look to our traders that buy the stuff. They look at how we run our business. They want to know everything about what you do. How you treat for pests. If you had pests, what would you do? Is that process organic? Everything has to be written down, documented, verified for them. So when at least you get coffee from us, from my opinion, there's no way that a coffee that we sell you isn't organic. Now, somebody could be lying down the road, and God only knows whether or not they're doing that. Like I said, we're buying coffee from a third world country. But the whole point is, and that's why they pull the specimens, because then that will tell you definitively. The whole point is, what we're trying to do is make sure that when you're buying coffee from us and it says organic, I can sleep at night. I know that the coffee is indeed organic. And we've gone through the process, and the people we buy our coffee from, has gone through the process. I hope that kind of gives you a glimpse of just what that process looks like, how involved it is. It's more just than a stamp on a bag. It's really a whole entire process that from the moment the coffee arrives in the United States, this is the only thing I know about. There's other things that happen overseas, for sure, for organic. But once it arrives here, pretty much every bean is accounted for. Every batch is accounted for. Every roast that we do is assigned a batch number, and it's recorded, and it's put on a spreadsheet, and it's linked up to the receipts that we get from the people we buy them from, and we trace that all the way through the shipping company, back to the importer, back to the cargo container, back to the country of origin. That's organic. Hope that answers any questions you may have, or you might have just been curious. Please let me know, by the way, if there's anything else that you would like to know about coffee. If there's anything on your mind, you can just chat with us, maverickscoffee.com. You can send me an email. You can call us, and we'll be happy to talk coffee with you. I do thank you for giving me your time and for listening, and I hope this information has been insightful and useful to you. Have a good day.